Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and nobody covered Megacon quite like Lauren and I did. Yes, today's episode is going to be our wrap-up show where we discuss the weekend that was Megacon Orlando 2025. It was a good weekend. I can promise you that much. But if this is your first time here, I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren. We have a website now if you want to catch everything out. It's hops-geeks-news.com, and it's also in the show notes. You can just click on it and go boop, and you're there. It's got everything. It's got our Megacon page specifically. It's all of that good stuff. It's got a link to our Patreon. The subscribe button takes you to all of our episodes. You want to catch up. You can drop comments. You can drop hate mail. I don't care. You can go anywhere on that website, but go visit that. That's everywhere you can go. And normally we do news, what we might have messed up on before, what we're reading or watching lately, and then our main topic. However, we didn't really prepare any news this week. The news is that we're alive somehow after spending yet another weekend together, because every time we get together, we tend to get rambunctious. For example, they kept me awake for 22 hours on Friday night.
That was your choice. We followed your lead. I would not have gone to a Universal after party if you weren't in town.
Oh, I was so in the bag. But yeah, we'll get to all that. My beer this week, we talk a quick beer of the week and then we move on. So I got Kung Fu Kitten. It's a hazy IPA from Precarious Brewing, 6.6%. I feel like kicking some ass. I feel like we kick some ass, and I'm feeling awfully rambunctious at times, I guess. I don't know why I'm using that word a lot. Probably because Mitch Garrett's is going to beat my ass next time I see him in person for how much my phone keeps auto-correcting his name, and I even mispronounced it at the con. And he was cool about it, but dude, if he just wants to beat the crap out of me the next time he sees me, I ain't even gonna fight back, man. But anyways,
just lay there.
It's gonna take.
I actually found a pernicious beer in my fridge this morning, but I didn't open it yet.
Pernicious. Why does that sound familiar?
You must precarious, not pernicious. Precarious.
Oh my god! And I just happened to That's not
what I'm drinking, but Pernicious is a beer from Wicked Weed. Precarious is the brewery that you left in my fridge.
Yeah, I looked at the cold one.
So the beer I actually opened is a Sierra Nevada non-alcoholic IPA. Because this weekend at one point, Sunday night, we were watching the Super Bowl, and I have a mini fridge in my bar area that's free game. There's no beers that are put aside for any special podcast or situation. Anybody can drink whatever they want in there. So Matt grabbed a beer from there. He's drinking it. And I look over and I'm like, you're drinking a non-alcoholic, right? He's like, I am. So that's how good this beer is, though.
I had no idea. I was also really drunk at that time too at your house. And let's be honest, there was a certain kid that I just trying to drink even more to escape the pain. But
we, so I actually just saw, Captain America. I'm not going to talk any spoiler thoughts about it because it literally came out today. Matt has not seen it yet. He's going tomorrow. Today is February 13th and we're recording. So I had a beer during the movie and I had a highlight during the movie. And honestly, this non-alcoholic Sierra Nevada is just as good, if not better. Yes, JLI.
I am going to go see Captain America in the morning. So don't worry. We will.
Floridians.
Yes. Don't worry. We're going to do a nice fancy Captain America Brave New World recap review. I'm going in the morning. It's Thursday evening when we're recording this. It's out, but I can't go until the morning. So I'll go to see it. Don't worry. I'll see it. But yeah, that was a good non-alcoholic. That was the first non-alcoholic beer I found that I liked. I don't know if it's because I had many beers.
No, it's a solid one. It's definitely a solid one.
It was good. It was good, and you tricked me. I feel like I can never trust you again because you really.
I didn't even give it to you. You got it on your own.
Well, I was trying not to drink all your good fancy beers. I felt bad that I was drinking your beers, and then so I went for a Sierra Nevada, and so
I feel like I'm never going to be able to empty my beer fridge.
Fine, you know what? That's what I get. Next time, I'm just gonna go for top shelf all night.
That beer fridge has been fully stocked no matter what I do since COVID. It'll dwindle down on hazies. That's always our issue, is keeping hazies stocked. But every other style is always overly stocked in there.
Yeah. So I mean, you do have quite the good beer fridge. Mine's pretty empty right now. I gotta refill that. I mean, I have some good stuff, but I have a lot of stouts I need to go through, and we'll share some beers when you're here for GalaxyCon.
I have a lot of Christmas beers in that fridge too.
Oh yeah. Let's get to what we've been reading or watching. I know that you didn't read, or you watched something, but you didn't read anything. So I actually read a bunch before going to MegaCon. My reviews, I read Batman Dark Patterns issue number 3. That is from DC and really, really going strong. The band that's just covered in spikes and stuff like that. We kind of get a sympathetic viewpoint. And that's what I really love about this story is it was a horror thriller, and now it kind of flips it on its head as the story progresses. So that's really good. I read Aquaman issue 2, which
I picked that up. but I don't have one.
Issue 1's really good. Issue 2 is also really good. I
Might
can
have to download
backfill
it.
you in if you need to. Yeah, I mean, whatever. But issue 2 is, so Jeremy Adams, John Timms. I got to interview Jeremy Adams this weekend, and would you know it, that that's the only interview where the audio for some reason didn't record. But I'm really sad because he did Scoobynatural and he wrote episodes in season 15 of Supernatural, which is cool. But we're gonna have him on in March. He already told us.
Fun surprise.
Yeah, he's going to hit us up, or we're going to hit him up. He told us to get with him in March. He's going to come on because he got some things that's working. But Aquaman, it was really good. I am loving the artwork. It's very bright and vibrant. And this is an Arthur Curry with a superpower set that we've never seen before. This is an Arthur Curry with a determination that we haven't really seen. And, it's really easy to make Aquaman a joke, but what Jeremy does is make him really strong, powerful, and respectable. And Aquaman, like I said, is always on my trinity of favorite comic book characters. So that's one I read. And then Absolute Batman issue number 5 from, Nick Dragata art
I picked that up too, but I haven't
Yes,
read
I
it.
have that. I've picked up I picked up all these. Diamond was late with my comics from local comic book shop, but I had luckily read them before, but I got them the hard copies because I still want to support my homies. But Scott Snyder, this kind of wraps up arc 1 just about. And let me tell you, without spoiling it, this feels like a very Empire Strikes Back finish for Batman for a change. And if you've read it, you'll kind of understand what I mean by that. If you have read it and you disagree, shoot us a DM. I'll be glad to discuss it. I want to discuss this comic book. I don't want to spoil it, but it's very surprising, and it is definitely an Empire Strikes Back kind of feel where some things happen. So I've read those, and then I did The Moon is Following Us issue number 6. Daniel Ward Johnson, Riley Rossmo, Mike Spicer, Sean Lee. That's continuing on this next arc where Penny. At the last arc, there's a betrayal, and now Sam and Duncan are working with Penny's nightmares to fight back, and it's a very heroic, triumphant feeling, which is different from how the last issue dropped off. So it's very hard. I want to spoil these again. I definitely don't. So I've read all those, really, really good stuff, and then I am midway through season 2 of Daredevil, which first time around, I didn't really like Karen and Matt together for some reason, but now that I'm watching,
I feel like they're off. I don't love them together.
No,
I love her and I love him individually. I don't like them together.
See, that's where I was, but this time around, I am all aboard the Matt Karen train, and I hate every moment that Elektra's in it, and I'm mad. I'm like, Matt, dude, Karen is actually really awesome. So, and I forgot that the Punisher was where we're at. And now I'm at the point where they have accepted to, spoiler alert, be his legal counsel and things like that. So that's where I'm at with that. I haven't watched anything else really. I've, been catching up on Traders and Deal or No Deal Island. White Lotus is out now. I will have a review probably out for that. And then, so Captain America Brave New World is going to be next week's episode. That's what I've gotten. I was at Lauren's house last weekend. We had a really good time. So Lauren, before we get into our Megacon weekend, what have you watched? Because you said you watched something.
So I watched Dexter Original Sin. Anybody who's not watching that, they should be. It is the next week, or this Sunday is the finale, or this weekend is the finale. I don't even know what day it comes out. So when this releases, that means it's the finale. So that's been great. But yes, I literally just got out of Captain America Brave New World. I very much so liked it. There was definitely a moment that I hit Josh in the chest. It? I very much so did like it.
Okay, because the discourse has once again been exhausting out there.
The people that have been complaining that they haven't been tying things in together, I think they did a good job of tying things in. They brought some big things in almost immediately. You were okay, we're connecting things. There was a big thing from the Fox universe that they mentioned. I don't want to
I already kind of know what the big thing from the Fox universe probably is, but
you probably do, but I don't want to. It's not like Cyclops isn't in it or anything like that. So don't expect somebody
it's
to.
It's a certain
to
material.
Like
yeah, I already know. They've already announced that. So you didn't watch previews, but they announced that out there and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. Well, every time that material, as soon as it came out, I hit Josh, and then it was like they like kept saying it was like we're allowed to say this, so we're gonna keep saying it. So I really liked that. I thought that Juan Torres, who we saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's Falcon now, and he's a Miami fan. He had a UM shirt on. He had a UM hat in the background. He had a Miami Heat jacket on his
Hope he gets his
chair.
ass beat every scene he's in.
So I absolutely loved seeing the Miami sports representation. That was a lot of fun. But I thought it was a really good story. And so one of the things that I absolutely loved about this is Anthony Mackie's Captain America is not a super soldier. And that is an issue in Falcon and Winter Soldier because we see John Walker take the serum. And that kind of represents how weak he is, that he needs this so much. And so Anthony Mackie not having taken it, I feel like differentiates him from Isaiah Bradley, from Steve Rogers, from, U.S. agent who was Captain America for 5 seconds, and from Bucky and all, even like the Black Widow program. Like it even differentiate like all these people that we see as like normal people, like still had some sort of tweak to their biology and their DNA, and he didn't. So I feel like it's a fantastic representation of how minorities have to do extra to be treated as equal. And I mean this like whether you're a woman or Hispanic or Black or something, it's like you have to do a little bit more, as a girl. It's like you got to compete with these certain clubs and you have to overprove yourself. So I feel like he's being forced to do that. So that's one thing that I think is really cool symbolically. And another thing, him hiding behind, and I'm keep, saying this slowly, hiding behind the shield and the vibranium wings, which are Wakandified. And we see that, which we saw that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. They were a gift from Bucky. When he doesn't have those, because he doesn't always have them readily available. He's not Iron Man where he just has this nanotech ready at any second. He has to defend himself like a normal human being. And what they've done with that, I feel like makes the fight scenes that he's in so much better. And it
raises
was like
the stakes,
Yeah. And so Natasha is one of my favorite people to see fight because she's this, average sized woman who's fighting these giant people. And she has to do all these cool tricks and, fling her leg. I love when she flings her legs around people's heads and like throws them on the ground. And so the acrobatics that went into some of the fighting with Anthony Mackie's Captain America, I fucking loved it. I thought he killed it. And then Isaiah Bradley got me like so emotional at one point. Like I thought he did great in Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was a moment in this where like I almost started crying and just wanted to like hug this man that is a fictional character.
I mean, well, you saw it in Falcon and Winter Soldier, the things that he's been through. And then if you know anything about comic books, his background is very tragic at the same time. So
the actor, I don't know his name. I need to look it up. I'm doing him a disservice not knowing.
Don't worry,
his name.
we'll handle that next week when we do our spoiler.
And then when we do spoilers.
Yes,
I don't want to say anything else before I accidentally spoil something.
Yes, because I haven't seen it. I am going. I bought my ticket, and I got 30 days of Apple TV free. So Carrie can watch Severance. But
I didn't. But I've already paid for Apple
I'll share
TV
my login. I was going to say I'll give you my login, but
ship has already sailed.
All right. Well, anyways, shall we go into the weekend that was Megacon 2025 in Orlando? It ran 4 days as it always does. And I truthfully think this might have been our best convention yet. And also it might have been the best Megacon that I have personally attended in the few that I have yet. The vibes were immaculate. The weather was honestly perfect. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't cold. You guys were cold, but I thought it was perfect out. It was 80 degrees. Come on.
Well, it was freezing in there.
The events were awesome. All of the guests were awesome. We got some Supernatural, but starting on, why don't you talk Thursday? Start Thursday because I didn't come in until Friday. So you start us off with Thursday.
So Thursday always starts a little later. It also ends a little later. So my first day, I usually want to hit the floor. I want to see what all is there, get a layout of the land kind of thing. In 4 days, I didn't cover the whole floor. Like,
there's so much you miss all the time. Yeah.
There were vendors I knew that were there that I never saw, but I try to do the most. I also do the most shopping. So I definitely bought a lot of cool stuff, including my new Loki ring, which has replaced my engagement ring. I fucking love it. I got my Wolverine earrings on. Oh, we're trying to stop cursing. My bad.
Yes, but then took us away and it probably thought we were bots or something, but also it could have been because we were cussing too much. So we are trying to clean that up, folks. I'm sorry.
Yes. I did pass the verification that I am a human being. I felt like Pinocchio when I got
Hooray, you did it. I'm a real boy.
Well, one of the things I tried to put a link in the bio of one of our videos, and apparently you can't do that unless you prove you're a real boy.
A real boy.
So I went to one panel that afternoon, and that was with Chris Condon, actually talking Ultimate Wolverine, and they were talking the Ultimates as well, and kind of going into coming up with the idea of this whole Wolverine meets Winter Soldier kind of story that's on, it's not 616, and kind of talking about where he's taking it. And one of the things I loved, and now I did not write an article because you interviewed him. And but one of the things I loved was somebody was like, oh, well, you can really do whatever you want with this Wolverine because it's Winter Soldier. And one of the things he said was like, at the end of the day, it's still kind of Wolverine. And I'm like, thank God, because it's cool to see him go through, these mind melding things, or he forgets his memory, or he's trained to do this or trained to do that. But at the end of the day, what makes Wolverine is Wolverine. So I trust in what he said that we're still going to get that proper
Oh
Wolvie at
yeah,
the end of
I
the
do
day.
too, for sure. I mean, Chris is amazing. He's such a really cool human being. I trust what he's doing. He's a very good writer. If you've read, That Texas Blood, Enfield Gang. So I trust Wolverine in his hands 100%. And I really like that the direction that he's taking Ultimate Wolverine too. I mean, the whole Winter Soldier aspect adds something different to Wolverine while not straying away
Well,
from who
staying
he
in
is.
character, yeah.
Yeah, it's you need to switch up characters and add some new storylines to them to keep them fresh. I mean, goodness, Wolverine has 75 different comic books out right now. So what makes Ultimate stand out differently from, what Ben Percy's doing, for example? And so adding that element of he's the Winter Soldier, it's really good. And me, like Ultimate Wolverine comes out next week, the second issue, and I am already chomping at the bit to get my hands on that one to read it because the first one was that freaking good. If people haven't picked it up yet, if I'm out here, singing the praises of a Wolverine comic, I think that kind of tells you that it's really good.
If I am, it's just another Wednesday.
Well, I mean, not that I don't like Wolverine. I mean, it's Wolverine is to Marvel what Batman is to DC, and I love Batman comic books just like you love Wolverine. So it kind of speaks that if you're reading a Batman and you're like, this Batman's
Yeah, I'm
amazing,
reading
then it's
Absolute Batman.
exactly it's vice
And you're
versa.
reading
So
Ultimate Wolverine, yeah.
look at us, we've grown in 5 years.
Who would have thought?
Look at that. But yeah, no, that so day one. Anything else? Did you go through anything else on that first day besides that panel? They're really Thursday kind of light for panels, especially when they're putting you up against Back to the Future. But
Well, there was a Ryan Otley panel. I did not make it to that. But yeah, it was really just mainly wandering around on Thursday.
Yeah.
And getting a lay of the land.
Yeah.
So I saved all my good stuff for when you arrived.
That's
and
right.
Trying to get a good night's sleep that night. I did not.
I woke up. So the only direct flight. So Carrie had to work on Thursday. So that's why we didn't fly out Thursday, which, my grandma came and watched the kids and it worked out. I had to wake up at 2 a.m., drive an hour to the airport, catch a Spirit flight, which we get to the airport and we're waiting outside the Starbucks that should have opened at 4 and it's 4:45 and they're still not open. We see them back there. Like, what the hell, man? There's about to be a mutiny in this airport because there's this long ass line and everybody's like, there's these two Karens who thought they're smarter than us who mobile ordered. Meanwhile, the rest of us have been waiting in line. People are like walking past the gate. You know what's funny is 10 minutes before they showed up, I was like, I'm going to mobile order. Let's see what happens. I'm going to mobile order. I'm going to stare at them through the gate. I should have mobile ordered because the Karens got their coffee first. Damn it.
Well, yeah, maybe they're smart Karens.
But I mean, I guess it worked out because I stood in line and then we got to be on the plane. And so, yeah, we flew in, got there at like 7:30 in the morning, went to your house, changed, and then we went off to the convention, which we had a horror panel right off the bat. We get to walk the floor. So I ran, said, hey, high fives, everybody. Hey, Chris. Hey, Steph. Hey, Tim. It was like, hey, just fresh off the plane. What's up, guys? Gonna go knock out our panel, which was actors and actresses that got their start in horror. And there was a good amount of people that showed up for that panel. I was really excited. Horror had a big little corner at Megacon this year. There was the Indie Horror Fest.
Yeah, a lot of indie horror.
Yeah, a lot of indie horror, where you might be talking to, Art the Clown himself and Screamboat Mickey's actor, David Howard Thornton. We might be talking to him here in a couple of months come April. We've connected with the producer. I just got to email some people this week because I haven't gotten to that yet.
Some horror stuff before October.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we did the panel and, how do you feel the panel went? Because I thought it went really good. We had some good interactions. There was a good amount of people there. It's always nerve wracking when you're not hosting the celebrity panels to be like, is people going to show up?
I know, you never know. But I mean, after we hosted the Supernatural one last year, I was like, okay, like a solid amount of people came to that. The Disney one was fucking slammed. So, oh my God, I curse a lot, don't I? The Disney one was really slammed and like, I'll never do that again because it was overwhelming. But no, I thought this was good. For me going into a horror panel, because I'm not well versed on horror. Like everything we do on this podcast, I research beforehand. It's fresh in my mind because I did not grow up loving it. So for me, it was one of those like, I want to make sure I cross my T's and dot my I's. And people were asking us, well, have you seen this horror movie? And like the people in the audience were more educated than I was, hands down. But there was one girl that was fantastic. Like she knew everything. She contributed a lot.
She was dressed up. She was like a dead cheerleader or something. Or what was she dressed up as?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they were. So he was Wolverine. I remember he was Wolverine. I forget what she was, and their daughter had the big scissors. She knew a lot.
There was
of
a
stuff.
couple people. Awesome. There was another girl that was that was pretty close to the front. That like she was fantastic.
Oh yeah, she was front row. Yeah, I remember her. Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. So there was a bunch of people that were contributing regularly, and when we do our panels, we even say that like, chime in. We want to hear
Yeah,
your
jump
opinions, your
in. Yeah.
thoughts. Like, we're not experts. So I thought it actually did go very well. And like you're the one, like I felt like you knew your stuff in that one, whereas Supernatural, like I was prepared for that one with the background knowledge. So it's like I wouldn't choose to host these panels if I didn't think that one of us were going to be the default of
Oh,
like
yeah, no.
knowing the most random of things.
We don't just pick something and talk at the crowd either, which some people do. Like their panel is just them talking to the crowd, whether it's exciting
We're
or
just
not.
doing Q&A.
Better or worse, yeah, or Q&A about something. That's what makes them exciting is, yeah, even if it's like Supernatural last year. I mean, I only had watched up to a certain point, so I obviously wasn't do that on my own, and
Right.
that's why I have you. But you're right. You know a good amount of horror, and then we got some good suggestions for movies
But
really bad horror movies to watch.
Deep cuts, and I don't.
I
One
don't
of
have a life, so
some I'm like, okay, what was one of them? Troll. Like I hadn't actually
yeah,
watched that. I watched the
had seen that one.
trailer, but I had figured out I knew enough from the trailer. But then somebody chimed in and told the whole plot of the movie, and I thought that was
Yeah.
great. They're like Leprechaun. I don't think I watched Leprechaun since
Oh my
the 90s.
god! Oh man,
So,
some
but
parts
I,
of that movie stick up vividly.
I do have in my notes though when we were in the panel, like I have October mapped out. Like we're good to go.
Yeah, we're already good in October. Hell yeah, we are, because there were some like really cheesy ones that were basically, hey, are these even worth watching? And there was a guy in the very back.
People are like, yes.
They're like, you have to watch it. I promise you. And so we got some October. So shout out to the folks in the horror panel, man. You guys, hey, that October is your month. I hope you come back or stick around, or if you're listening to this, let us know, because
we will
October
be deep diving those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's February right now, so it's a long way to go, but
it'll be here before we know it, man.
Life's a horror film these days, so who knows? No.
That ain't the truth, yeah.
But afterwards, the panel, it's always fun. Also, one thing I love doing these panels is afterwards people come up and talk to it, and you get to make those connections and talk, and that's what I really love too. Is, hey, did you know XYZ, this, that, or the other? And it's fun getting to talk to some of these people. And after that panel, actually, we had talked to one of the owners of Broken Strings. He had sat around and waited, and he was there.
Which was funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was too funny. He goes, you guys are like beer. She's local? Or he's like, are you both local? I was like, no, she is. And he goes, well, I'm, one of the owners, or, now closed Broken Strings. And I was like, oh crap. Yeah, I've had your beer a bunch of times, man. You've sent it and I've come and had some. So that was really cool, getting to make those local connections of breweries that we've had on the show, for example. It sucks that
we've had Ale Line on this show, and Broken Strings was a stop for Ale Line.
Yeah, and that was really cool. But afterwards, we walked the floor. We walked for a couple hours. Chris from Geek Peak. Yes. We went and got lunch, where I downed 2 hot dogs, of course. And Chris from the Geek Peak podcast came. He drove out from Tampa to came and say hi, and that was really fun. That was the first time in 5 years doing this. We've known each other. We've played video games online.
I'd met him before, not to brag or anything, but
you have. That's true. You have. I have not.
And the best was so I had met him in person a couple of years ago, maybe at this point. It was me, him, and Tim and Josh, and then he recorded after that, and I ended up listening to his episode, and he was so drunk on the episode he recorded, and his co-hosts are like, "Didn't you just have beers with somebody from Hops Geek News?"
Yes. And he's so drunk. Oh my god. But he was awesome, dude. It was so good getting to see him.
He is such a sweet and fun guy. Yeah.
He is one of the coolest dudes out there. If you want to go check out another really good podcast, Geek Peak, they've had a lot going on, but getting to hang out, meet him, we got to say goodbye and everything like that before we went to Universal. It was really cool. And if you think I'm tall, he's taller than me. And so him, myself, and Lauren took a picture, and Lauren was like a Polly Pocket standing next to the two of us. He's like 6'6", 6'7".
Gary said I look like an action figure.
That's what it was, like a My Life size, one of those little figures.
I'm 5'5". I am normal size. I think I'm actually above average height for a woman.
For a girl.
And I look so tiny in that picture.
You did.
But it's funny too, is while we were waiting for Chris and trying to find you, myself, Carrie, Matt's wife, and Tabby were waiting. So Carrie points out this Deadpool that's practically naked. He's wearing like an apron and a Deadpool mask and whatever. And so we compliment his outfit, and I'm like, hey, can I take a picture? So if you've seen any of our reels, he's in our cosplay reel. It's at Awesome Artifacts on TikTok. And he gives me a sticker, and it has his handle on it. And then he goes to Tabby, and he's like, do you want my card? And he hands her a card, and the card literally just says, my card. And then he's saying, he's like, oh, I want to try out this pickup line is what we're hearing. And he's like digging in his bag, and we're like, is he going to do like a magic trick? And so we're waiting for some silly Deadpool pickup line. He literally hands me a lime and says, here's my pickup lime.
It was amazing. Oh my
And as
God.
he
I
goes
loved
to
it.
walk away, I'm like, I'm gonna use this on my chimichangas later. And he does like a little like leg kick up, like little like skip or whatever, and like frolics
It was
off.
amazing. Oh my.
It
And
was
you came up, he's
amazing.
like, I got this pickup line. And I was like, what? You
All
told
right,
me
so we
I
meet
was,
up with Matt, and yeah, we're all in tears, crying, laughing, and I'm like, I have a lime.
it was amazing. Truly, truly amazing. And well, I was already enamored by the fact that, Chris and I are so tall. And one of the benefits at things like this is being so tall is when you're trying to find each other on the phone, we just raise our hands up and we're so tall that we just see each other's hands in the air and we're like, oh, there you are. We're good. And then you guys come up crying, laughing about this lime. And I was like, huh, that's incredible. And that wasn't the only run in we had. I believe, what was it, Megan and Kaylee or somebody saw him again that weekend and he was digging around because he was just about out of limes at
I
that
think
point.
Megan asked him for a lime.
Oh,
She's
that's
like,
what
"Can
it
I have
was.
a
Yeah.
lime?"
She knew it. Oh man, that's right. But yeah, at that point, we had gone to Universal, which, man, I don't want to let the secret out because it was so awesome, but it was so good. There was, aside from a couple things, so we are starving, of course. We go to the Three Broomsticks and they let us in. They were supposed to close at 7 and open back up at 8. They let us in line. They let you guys get food. They stopped me. We sorted it out. I got food.
They stopped me. I just pulled my pass holder
Yeah.
card out.
Well, if I would have been fine waiting, but if Carrie didn't get food at that moment, she probably would have murdered everybody there. So I was, hey, do you guys got food? Oh, I'm going back up there. We ended up getting food. I downed a butter beer and I downed a beer. It was amazing. But then we did Hagrid's ride. Yo, that was my first time on Hagrid. That is the best.
Good.
That was the best. I loved
As a
that
muggle,
ride.
I can rate that ride 10 out of 10.
It was just like, it's, first of all, it's amazing because there's a sidecar to the motorcycle. And
Mhm.
so you're just right. I was sitting there. Yeah. Woo. My Roosevelt's is flapping in the wind and Carrie's in the sidecar. You were in the sidecar to Tabby.
No,
'cause
I
Tabby
was
and
on the
did.
motorcycle.
Oh, you're on the motorcycle. Oh, I thought
Yeah.
for some reason you were on, I couldn't.
No, I went hardcore.
We were,
Mhm.
wild hogs, man. Yeah. And you got the dragons blowing breath and some of the fun little twists and turns you do, and doing it at night too is really cool. And
Yeah, it is nice to do it at night. Especially because
the-
the park's usually closed so early. So the
Yeah.
one thing I will say was like, it came up last year and we ended up not doing it because Roosevelt's
we
was
did
doing that
Mosh
thing at
Isley, yeah.
Epcot, and we
Which,
did
again,
Mosh
they did
Isley
the
a different
same night
night.
again this year, which I'm like, dudes.
No, last year Universal was Friday, I thought, and
It
Mosh
was.
Isley
No,
was Saturday. So they were different nights this year, but we did Epcot
no. Mosh
Friday.
Isley was Friday this year with.
This year it was, yeah. Last year wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They were. You're right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. My apologies.
But like, last year we didn't do Universal. We ended up going to Disney and everything. And then, Tommy Stella had said how great it was. So then when it came out this year, I was like, yeah, I'm down to do that. That's fine. But like as a local and as a pass holder, I kind of figured like, I'm just paying to go with my friend who's coming from out of town and it's cheaper. But how I will interpret it, so it was $100 plus like tax, whatever. And then you got a $25 gift card. So it was basically $75 plus tax.
Which was
you could
cool.
get in from 5 to midnight. But how I saw it was I paid $75 for a fast pass all night, which
there was no lines.
A great deal. Yeah. So
it was, 31 minutes was the longest we waited, which was Hagrid's the very first.
Hagrid's was probably only that long because you probably still had people that were in before the park closed that were still in line. We probably could have gone on it again we walked on a Velocicoaster, we walked on a Mummy. You guys walked onto Jimmy Fallon. We chose not to do that.
I mean, I can't believe there wasn't a line for Jimmy Fallon. Who doesn't want to ride Jimmy Fallon?
We walked on to Green Gots, was basically walk on.
Yeah, that was I like that ride too, man.
All of these things were,
there was no crowds, and there were people in the park, but obviously it's very different because you weren't shoulder to shoulder. The longest I think we waited between after Hagrid's. Yeah, it was getting. Our drinks.
Well, the train was maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, if that. I mean, so we did Velocicoaster after Hagrid's, and I want to talk about that real quick. It's my first time doing Velocicoaster. Whoo! I like roller coasters. There was one point in particular I thought I was dead, and that was when it goes over the water, it flips you upside down. I have never come out of my seat more on a ride than I did there. And what's funny is everybody I talked, Tim Sheridan, Mark Guggenheim, Jeremy Adams, Mitch Garrett's, we all said, yeah, no big deal. I talked to all these people, but everybody had the same reaction when I was like, oh, you guys went to Universal? Because they went the night after us on Saturday night. And I was like, how was it? And everybody's first reaction was, I have never, they thought they were going to die on the Velocicoaster. They said, this is how it ends. That was everybody who had ridden it for the very first time's reaction, mine included, because I have never come out of my seat. And Jeremy was like, yeah, I just lost a lot of weight. And I was like, what a bad time to lose weight because this is how I'm going to die on this ride. And it was hilarious that everybody's was that. And Tabby has her arms up the whole time and I'm holding on for dear life. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Carrie hates it because she thinks she's gonna die, and Tabby's having the time of her life.
I think it's amazing.
It was awesome. No, don't get it wrong.
But you gotta. So the next time you go on it, you gotta be like mindful of like that very end when you go up and you like pause in the air for a moment. You gotta look around.
It might take a little while, but yes, I will certainly try to. No promises.
That is hands down my favorite roller coaster I've ever been on.
Well, it's still beautiful because everything was lit up out. Everything was lit up, so it was really cool that you get to that point. I caught like a glimpse before I was basically going to die.
It's like good, and then you think it's winding down, and then it gets better. And what's funny too, unique to that night, was not only when we were getting on it, did we see like 4 Spider-Men getting on at once.
Yeah.
So this ride, you cannot have anything, not even a cell phone. They make you go through a metal detector. They'll wand you and everything to make sure, because I don't want things falling out of your pockets, becoming projectile weapons and killing.
Yeah, on this one, you're killing somebody.
But there was somebody dressed as Captain Jack Sparrow that is like rings all across their arms and earrings and all this stuff. And the guy's laughing as he's getting wanded so that he can go on Velocicoaster. That's something you'll only see at a Megacon after party. Captain Jack Sparrow from Disney. Waiting in line and getting wanded at the Velocicoaster ride at Islands of Adventure.
Yeah, because they don't let you really dress up or anything like that normally. And so for this, it was dress up. And you go from that to the 3 broomsticks. Where Chris Condon came, and Chris and I are doing double shots of fire whiskey and butter beer. And it was just one of those surreal moments where you're like, and that was just Friday.
Wolverine koozie on my beer and I cheers to Wolverine, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Chris, oh man.
When we were waiting in the line at 3 broomsticks when we first got there, I don't know if I was just tired or what, but I just started like crying, laughing again, because I look over and I just see this Mario in full costume, mustache and all, just eating in the Hogsmeade. And then I see him like wipe his mustache very delicately with his napkin. And I just thought,
but when you look out into it, there was like a lot of Luigi's, there was Mario's, there was everybody dressed up in the 3 broomsticks. It was such a unique experience. You're right, because we were just standing there and you just see everybody dressed up, and it's just such a unique experience that I think that's the one event I will gladly do year after year for Megacon, just because it's such a fun experience. And you're right, you pay $100 for a fast pass. Hell yeah. That's the cheapest you're ever gonna get, because they give you a $25 gift card per person.
Dude, that's 2 beers. Yeah, I used the 100% on 2 beers.
Yeah. It was fun, and we did that, and Universal was awesome. And we go back to your house, we put on Supernatural, Josh pours a heady, and we all fell asleep because at that point I was like, dude, I had been up since 2. We got back to your house at 1 after the fiasco of the Uber and
that damn Uber.
But Saturday morning,
and then he had the audacity to charge me a 56-cent waiting fee. I saw there was like a waiting fee, and I was like, God. I'm gonna object to this. This is some BS. And then I saw it was 56 cents, and I was like, it's not worth my time. So when you get an Uber from Universal, there's 2 zones, and it's blue or green. So as soon as it says your Uber arrives, I call the guy.
Car pictured.
And I'm like, are you in blue or green? And he's like, no habla inglés. So I'm like, okay, verde or azul. And he
was like, you're down for the culture.
But then he started, I'm not.
One's like, wait, I only know very simple Spanish.
Like, Coco. Like, I only know a little. And then we had to run around and get in there. But we got in there and we got home safe and everything. We weren't driving. My daughter dropped us off. Kaylee went in with her annual pass for 5 minutes so she could get a picture in Superhero Landing with her Captain America dress. Yeah. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I would not have drank that much if I knew I was going to be driving. But
I got to a certain point
we got home safe.
Where I was basically, I'm so tired I can't have another beer, which is probably good because I had a lot of butter. I had so much sugar that night between the butter beers and the beers and the fire whiskey shot. If you're doing 3 broomsticks, the fire whiskey shot with butter beer, they tell you don't mix it at the bar, which is kind of funny to me, but it makes sense and it would overflow. If you're doing the shots, you cannot mix it at the bar. But Chris and I, we cheers, we did shots. I felt bad because I was like, hey, do you want anything? He's like, no, sounds good. He goes, whatever you're having. So I almost, part of me was like, did I just coax him into taking shots?
Hey, if somebody says that, they're ready to take whatever.
But I was doing that. Yeah. So we did that shot together and it was awesome, but it tasted so good with the butter beer, like the cold, you have to get the cold butter beer. you take the shot.
Oh,
I
yeah,
took a
because
double
this
shot
time
of
of
the
year,
fire
there's
whiskey. It was
hot
cinnamon
butter
fire
beer
whiskey.
too.
Yeah,
I don't think the hot's available
ugh,
all year.
good.
I think it's just available this time of year.
Yeah, that dude was.
Haley
They said
loves
they're
the
all out
hot
of
one.
hot butter beer, and that guy, somebody was like, "What'd they say?" And the guy at a table is like, "I don't know, but I think they said they're all out of butter beer here." And I want to be like, Shut up." Too bad I didn't
Oh,
get a
that's what happened. Because when I heard that, I was like, how they
He was telling
wouldn't run
people
out of
they're out about it.
butter beer? It's like Disney World running out of, like, I don't know, turkey legs. I have no idea. But no,
Yeah, no,
they're not gonna run out of butter beer. That's like,
yeah,
okay, that's like Galaxy's Edge running out of blue milk. That's a better comparison. That's not gonna
exactly.
happen. They're
No,
ready
and
for that.
trust me, cold butter beer with a fire whiskey shot. Thank you, Tabby.
But yes,
Flames. It's very good.
no, was it? I think maybe did we open a Hetty when we got back from Universal?
Yeah,
No, we
we
didn't.
did. Yes, we
No, I think
did.
that was the next night.
No, we did it. We did it Friday night. Trust me, I promise you, it was Friday night. We did the Hetty Topper because Josh was awake. We did it. We opened up the Hetty, and because I knew after I drank that little bit of Hetty, I was asleep in Carrie's lap because we were watching Supernatural on DVD, which disappoints me because I forgot. I want to hear the music. Yeah. So Saturday though was the con, and we didn't. I mean, you guys, there's panels. So I actually had some while you guys were doing a couple panels right off the bat. Carrie and I walked the floor. I met Ruthie Connell, sweetest lady ever. You know her from Doom Patrol. She's in Dead Boy Detectives. She's obviously Rowena. She's so like small, and she is so tiny. What she told us was they actually were greenlit for a season 2 of Dead Boy Detectives. Everything was done and ready. They just needed to shoot, but the writer strike happened, and then they got canceled. So there was supposed to be a Dead Boy Detective season 2. Unfortunately, we're not getting that. But I was talking to her, and the best part was her getting to dress up. She felt so great being able to dress up all the time as Rowena. And, I got to kind of be like, I didn't say I hated you. I was like, when you first came, your character, because the way you acted was so good, I didn't like you. But by the end of the show, I'm like, Rowena in hell, I would follow you to the ends of the earth, essentially. And maybe I just kind of rambled like I tend to do. And that was awesome. And then we went to Mark Shepard's line, and oh my God, I was within 3 feet of Jared Padalecki, who I wish I now got a picture with him, because just watching him interact with fans, he was listening so intently, and he was so in tune, and just such a positive ball of energy that even if you weren't talking to him, you can just see the attention he gave to people who talked to him. And it's got to be tiring, like all day, all weekend talking to people. But eye contact was there. He was just such a sweet guy listening to him talk. And then I met Mark Shepard, who I did not have a good experience with. I don't care if you were, I promise you, if you were there, you would have.
Grumpy teddy bear.
He was not a teddy bear. There was nothing teddy bear about this guy. And
I think he's
short. And I was like,
he's just dry humor, British.
There was nothing there. I promise you.
He's the one, like, every con I've seen, I think this is the third con I've seen him at, and he always says how, like, the Supernatural fans are not called Supernatural fans because fan is short for fanatic, and this is a family. That's why we're called Supernatural Family. He even explained that in the panel that they did.
I
think he wants to be grumpy, and he wants to be grr, but I don't think he
was rude. He was pretty rude. And
I'll
leave it at that. Maybe I'll meet him again.
And you're going to fall in love with him. It'll be like when you first saw Rowena. Well, he's one of your favorite characters, too, on the show.
He was. Anyways.
Past tense. Okay.
I'm not getting into this now. We saved it because I saw DJ Qualls after. And holy shit, that was the best celebrity experience I might have ever had, save David Tennant's and mine's little selfie fiasco. He was the sweetest human being on earth. He was amazing. I wish I could hug DJ Qualls, aka Garth, and just be like, dude, I love you. He was awesome. Amazing. And that was such a special moment. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So I was just going to say the Supernatural panel. I did write an article on nerdinitiative.com if you want to
let's talk about
how that panel went.
Sorry. We're on Saturday still, silly goose.
Oh, shit. You're right. We're
on Saturday because we all met back up. There was nothing of note that really happened besides your panels. What panels did you see on Saturday?
I saw Legends of Tomorrow. I wish I had gone to the Superman panel, so I did not go to that. I did see a clip of it today. The Superman panel looked amazing. It had Tyler Hoechlin.
Oh, we did meet Tom Welling. And we met, what's his name? Oh my God. I just blanked.
I don't think I met anybody else.
No, Tabby loved,
Diggle.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dave
Ramsey.
Oh my God, that hurt. Dave was the sweetest human being too. He was awesome. Tom Welling, you
Yeah.
could tell he was shy. That was an awkward experience, but he was still
He
great.
seemed exhausted. Well, he seemed exhausted in the Smallville panel, but
I
then when
think
I was watching the Superman panel, I guess he showed up before everybody else, and he seemed very energetic and very high energy.
he
So
was
I think he
nice. Don't
was
get me wrong.
Oh, no, he was very nice. And it was funny because I told him, I was like, "Oh, when her and I, Tabby and I drove home from Maine, like, your podcast got us through. We listened to just 20 hours of your podcast." And he goes, "Oh my God, 20 hours of my voice?"
Yeah, he was funny. He was
That was
awesome.
cute.
But no, we did meet him. That's right. We met him, and then Dave Ramsey. Tabby got the picture. He like shook our hands, all that. He was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even jump in that
It was a
picture,
great
and
experience. I
but
didn't
I
want to ruin
told
it for
him
Tabby because there was two. Yeah, Tabby, that was her
yeah.
thing, and
And
Matt
he's
Smith as
great
well.
too, because he's one of those that, like, takes it from a selfie angle and, like, will do
Oh, he
different things,
did all sorts of funny
and he got a natural smile out of her. And I had seen him years ago at a Walker Stalker con that was a benefit for the victims of Pulse. And so we did a photo
Oh
with
yeah,
him,
we
and he
talked
did the
about that.
same thing. And I told him that. I was like, "It was so great meeting you." And I told her she was going to get a great selfie experience. And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "That was a while ago now." And
2013.
so
Yeah.
it was, yeah. So I actually thought about it. It was 2016
Ah,
because I was so newly pregnant with Logan. I didn't know I was pregnant. And I remember the Pulse shooting was when I was in Denmark. So that was right before I got pregnant.
wait, we're burying the lead, Lauren. We
What's
met
the
our
lead?
biggest fan this weekend.
Oh, Megan.
Megan cosplayed as me this weekend, which I am already cooking up something for next year. Don't worry, because
So they
Megan said she's
told
cooking up
me.
something.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Megan is my daughter's best friend.
She's
It's
now
also
my
her
adopted
roommate. And so she told me, so Kaylee told me first, she's like, "Megan wants to cosplay as Matt one day." And I started laughing. I'm like, "Matt's going to love that." And so they came over and, like, raided my closet one day. Cause I'm like, "You're going to need a polo."
You could have
And,
asked
like,
Carrie, and she
snap.
would have sent you a Roosevelt's. I would never
Well,
would have
your
known.
Roosevelt's would have been too big on her. So,
That's fair.
she's little. But I didn't know she was having a shirt made that said Matt Roth's #1 fan.
And she put
And
in
Lauren too, in tiny print.
Yeah. I love that child so much. She's the most hilarious ball of light ever. I swear to God, Megan is the sweetest person on earth. It was amazing. And what's better is the fact that we all went to Half Barrel that night.
And
And
Megan and Kaylee are 21.
they
So
were
I just wanna
there.
clarify that,
And
yes.
so we're drinking beers as Megan's wearing this shirt. Not only did she wear the shirt to meet Matt Smith, and there's a picture of Matt Smith next to her wearing that shirt, but Brian Azzarello and Stephanie Phillips were having beers with us. And so she was wearing that shirt. And I love that because I was slightly intimidated talking to Brian because I'm such a fan of his. I didn't want to talk anything comic related just because I didn't want, he hears that all day at the con. I wanted I wanted to be like, hey, we're humans, and we talked beer a lot, and I forgot to bring him coffee Sunday, and I feel bad about that. And I even told him, but I just love that aspect of it, that we're hanging with one of the greatest comic book writers, and Brian Azzarello, the guy who's done so many good Batman Joker stories. And Megan's wearing a shirt with my name on it. And it was one of those, like, what is life happening? What are we doing in life? It was such a great weekend for that. It was just crazy.
She almost ordered, like, a fake Bluey tattoo, and I'm like, "Megan, stop spending your money."
Yeah, no, don't do that. But oh my gosh, I'm cooking something up for next year, I gotta start. She said she's up in her game. I got to get into the game. I think.
I don't know how she's gonna up it from there.
I don't have any idea either. I have no idea.
Yeah, so I did do the Flash panel, the Legends of Tomorrow panel, and the Smallville panel, and there is an article of that up on nerdinitiative.com as well. That was a lot of fun. All of these worlds have ended. I think the Legends panel was actually my favorite because how the Legends ended was so exciting for what is to come. And, like, that show started out as my least favorite show and turned into my favorite show. And the actors, so it was Sarah Lance, Adam, who's also Superman, and Constantine were the panel, and then Rip Hunter, who's also Rory from Doctor Who, crashed the panel, and you knew he crashed it because there was no chair or microphone for him. So they were actually sharing a microphone during the panel because they were promoting him just as, like, a Doctor Who, and then he showed up for that. And they all seemed sad that the show had ended. They wanted. It
was a good show, and they had really good cast chemistry together too. At the same time, I loved that show. It was it was great. And, we got to talk to Mark Guggenheim a little bit, and I was like, dude, your show is the reason why my kids have names, basically, which was really cool. And so the Arrowverse meant a lot to a lot of people, and it got a lot of people into comics, and seeing them still have such a great relationship across the board, and they're all doing conventions together still.
And the Flash too, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing, and that just shows you that these things, even though they ended, they still mean so much to people. And we'll get to that with the Supernatural panel in a second, but it's really cool.
One thing, so they had questions. They didn't have people line up and do questions this year. They were all like pre-asked. So there was 2 questions that people asked that have either did not finish the show or just forgot. One of the questions was, what would they do if they ever did a musical episode? They were like, and I even whispered to Kaylee, I'm like, we did a musical episode. And they're like, we did a musical episode.
Stupid.
And then somebody else asked Brandon Roth, or Routh with a U.
Yes.
What would happen if your character Adam and your character Superman met? And he's like, they did. They met because
there's that big crosses. Yeah.
So like if you're gonna ask a question at a panel, make sure you.
That's the one. So like, no, that's less on the people asking and more on the people who pick those questions.
I don't know who picks the questions. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying like, whoever picked those questions, it's like.
But I feel like it was like an insult to the actors. Like they're taking their time.
That's what I'm.
Yeah. No, I wasn't knocking the actors at all. But I don't know if it's like they randomly pull the questions during the panel. I honestly don't know.
They pre-select them. I'm pretty sure. Whatever. I don't know. Neither here. Hearsay. Yeah, hearsay. But yeah, I don't know. It was good panels happened on Saturday, and the event Saturday night we met a lot of really cool people. I just started drinking, talking to people. We met somebody from Virginia Beach. We met the girl who worked at Ryan Otley's table, and we're having beers with Brian Azzarello and was talking beers and what is life. Sunday was fun. So Saturday night we went back to the house. We kind of all passed out or whatever at that point too. But Sunday was great because we went there. We had a couple panels right off the bat. Yeah. What was the first panel? So you guys went to panels. Carrie and I walked the floor until noon. And luckily at noon, I hopped in the Supernatural line because right after I hopped in the Supernatural line, everybody got in the Supernatural line because it was the cast panel. And even then we were if I had waited 10 more minutes, maybe 20 more minutes, we wouldn't have gotten into that panel at all. And I feel like that's the one panel we are all looking forward to.
Kind of annoying. There's an area in the convention center with an actual like stage and stadium seating. If they had done these panels there, they wouldn't have had this issue. Like people shouldn't have to be spending an hour of their time outside of a room to make
I agree, especially, an hour plus. I mean, because I lined up an hour and a half before the panel. So that's an hour and a half when we could have been experiencing, some of these small creators and things like that. They really ought to Megacon, and this is a little tidbit information, I guess, from a secret squirrel, is drawing a crowd the same size, if not bigger than San Diego Comic-Con at this point. So I feel as though they really should have utilized the theater space and the bigger space to really account for these crowds and the celebrity.
Yeah. I saw John Barrowman in that theater. I saw Stephen Amell in that theater. I saw Danny Tanner in that theater. Like they've used that theater before, but I guess maybe it's
I've seen Stan Lee in that theater.
Yeah, well, in 2015, that's where John Barrowman was.
Yeah, so I've seen Stan Lee in that theater.
I don't know if it just happens we were there, but then they put Legends in a small room too, where at first a lady told me I was blocked out. And then Kaylee's texting me. She's like, I have a seat on either side. And then some other lady came out and she's like, don't tell them they can't go in. And then I was having issues getting into the Flash panel and they saw my press badge and they're like, oh, your press, go ahead on in. And there was still a bunch of seating in there.
Which, that's...
I think also people skip seats. And it's like, if it's going to be full, you got to like scoot in. I know
you have to, and those panels, they're so big, you have to sit. But then that's the price you pay for going to a panel. So you need to be sitting next to each other. Yeah. That's not really fair or right. I agree. But the Supernatural panel was a highlight. Jared, you can tell, was so thankful and so appreciative of being there.
Well, he's a goofball.
He is. And, DJ was awesome. Jack, I don't really...
Bobby was angry.
Bobby was a grouchy. You want to talk about a grouchy old man? That was Bobby.
He walked down and he goes, hello, idiots. He knew exactly what we wanted from him and he delivered. He was fantastic.
That panel was awesome. I loved it. Yeah. And they're so appreciative now that we're, 5 years past the show ending and there's still people like me out there who was finding the show and watching the show.
And Jared mentioned it was 20 years almost to the day that they started filming the pilot.
Yeah. And so, we, Lauren wrote an article on it, which is on our website. It's on our Megacon 2025, go on there. It's at the bottom of that. If you want to read the article, there's pictures. It was great. But then we ended the show beautifully with our Supernatural panel. And it was, the angels, the demons, the idiots, and our underrated episodes. And I thought that might have actually been the best panel that we've, in the short time we've done panels. in the last couple of years have actually done. I thought it was the most energetic. People were really into it. And we even had a returner from our last panel last year.
That's cool.
We had somebody
When she raised her hand, I did recognize her because I feel like she was
she was in like
she was
suspenders, black
interacting the
suspenders.
year before too.
She was, yes. And this year she was Dean.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool that we had somebody return from our panel last year. And so now this year, and then getting to talk afterwards, and that panel's on our YouTube. And that was a fun panel.
It was fun, yeah. And then there was somebody I was talking to after that was, telling me how much he loves Supernatural.
Yeah,
and
Nico.
That
I remember his name. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people that do. And it's true. It's such a cult following show because it's interesting because I didn't start watching until 2016. And when I started, I didn't know anybody who did. And then I would randomly mention it and other people would be like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. And so it was funny to now have this whole group of friends that we've all kind of got into it so much later, over a decade after the show started, and new people are still getting into it.
Well, I guess that means we have to do a Supernatural panel.
Scott was telling us he hasn't watched it. It's never too late.
I was oh my God, dude. Speaking of Scott, it was great getting to meet Scott throughout the weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't get the beers this time, but just getting to chat with Scott, I could sit there literally for a good hour or two. It's probably better we didn't have beers with Scott because I feel like we would have been there all night just because
there's no beer garden this year.
We had to go to the bar, but we had to go to the bar, you had to drink in an enclosed area. But Scott was amazing. Scott is amazing. Scott was amazing. I could talk to Scott all day, every day, just talk his ear off. We can just bullshit about Epic or Universal or horror and things like that. It was really, really, truly amazing getting to meet Scott. And yeah, the panel was dope. We're gonna have to do Supernatural panels. That's what we're gonna have to put in. There's a market for it, and I feel like we found our niche,
bread and butter.
So yeah, we're good. And we went back and celebrated Carrie's birthday afterwards. The Super Bowl was a footnote. I didn't even really pay attention, but I didn't need to because it was fun just sitting around the table and chatting with you, Tabby, Kaylee, Megan, Erica. We got to see Austin and the kids and Josh and everybody, and it was just good hanging out. And it was really the perfect weekend. I feel like I really needed that, and so you let us come crash your house, and I really appreciate that. It was awesome. It was like the best weekend. It really was.
And I left your ice cream and comic books here for you to get. And you did not even see them. And now I have your Absolute Batman comic too. So I'm just collecting comics from you.
I'm just slowly moving into Lauren's house at this point. It starts with the comic books. Pretty soon, next time I visit, I'm just going to start leaving clothes and a toothbrush. And next thing you know, it's going to evolve from there.
I still have that washcloth I accidentally stole from you. And it's literally sitting on top of these comic books.
Stealing my stuff. Look at that. We're slowly and
we came home from Virginia and we had a random washcloth that made it into our
vacation home in Virginia now. Okay, so you've got your vacation home in Virginia. Not it's just great. It's great. And next month in March we are going to be doing GalaxyCon. We got 2 panels approved. We got press approved. So we'll be on the lookout for that. We are doing an event at Benchtop in Richmond, which Benchtop is such a great brewery and it's a great event space that I can't wait for that. Micah's coming. We'll see Micah, and Megan's going to be coming out. So we'll see Megan that weekend. But there's nothing we didn't do at Megacon that I wish we did. Everything was pretty much perfect in my book. And I feel like that was our strongest convention yet.
I think that's fair to say.
It was the best. If you guys obviously want more from Megacon, do you have any final thoughts before I wrap this up? I don't have
any more to give. I've given so much. Well, no, if you've never done Megacon, I highly recommend it. They have released the dates for next year. It is March 19th to the 22nd. I don't think spring break is the best idea. If you are coming, I don't recommend going.
Well, they did on the Super Bowl this year, so I feel like they're just testing various dates now. I don't know.
I do think the Super Bowl was weird. But, it was funny, though, was like the person hosting the Supernatural panel had on an Eagles jersey. The best part, though, was
birds.
Oh, we toured Baby. We have a great interview.
We have a great interview with Iconic Themes. Yes.
That's up on the YouTube. We took pictures with them last year. We got to really talk to them this year. It was really cool to see how they came about all that. But so Sunday, our panel ended at 4:30. We're still so we go to the floor, do some last few minute things. We got a lot of samples of comics on coffee. And then I saw this guy in a Kansas Chiefs jersey cleaning up that freaking tent area in his booth as fast as he humanly possibly could. I felt bad for the guy. He's breaking down things. Yeah, it's 5:30 on Sunday and he's quick as he can trying to take the stuff down.
Shout out to Mitch Garrett's. He had some really fun shirts around the Super Bowl too. But yeah, dude, I saw some people with the Kansas City Chiefs and Eagles jerseys on. You can only imagine. To them, it was really important. The rest of us were like, I'm a big sports fan. This Super Bowl just didn't feel Super Bowl-y, I guess. But maybe it's more on me.
Super Bowl-y.
I don't know. Felt weird. Yeah, it was great. If you want more though, go to our website. It's linked in the show here. If you're on YouTube, I just pulled it up. It's hops-geek-news.com, where we have a MegaCon 2025, where you can pretty much just see a lot of the photos. We've got our panels up there. Lauren's article from Supernatural. There's an Arrow one that's going to be up there. And then every interview we did. So we got to talk to Mitch Gerrits, Jeremy Adams, God, I can't even tell you how much Tim Sheridan. I could have talked to him all day as well. Tim Sheridan.
Oh my God, he was so sweet. I loved him.
Awesome. Cannot wait to get Tim back.
Jeremy Adams talking about Supernatural, and I even got a fun fact from him to share in our Supernatural panel, which made it so much more. I wish we had that panel earlier, just because the audience seemed excited to learn about him.
Everybody was stoked about that. He wrote Scoobynatural, and everybody was stoked.
Talk to him, And
by the time we got down there, he was gone. Yeah. And so we did that. Ben Percy, Stephanie Phillips, Chris Condon. We interviewed so many people that it's on our YouTube. It's on that page. If you go to our website, and if you go to Megacon 2025, it's there. You can watch the interviews. They're 2 to 4 minutes long each. Our panels there, both of them. And we just had a really good time. So thank you to everybody who came out to our panels. If you're listening to this, we really appreciate it. Hopefully you are sticking along, following along. And everybody that has supported what we've done. This is our best convention yet. We have another convention in a month, and then we're going to keep doing our thing. So
most horrible yet.
We're stacking wins, man. And so thank you guys for supporting us. If you've been around a while, if you're new, come along, hop in the Discord if you would like, and come hang out with us. So with that said, cheers to Megacon 2025. We're on to GalaxyCon. And next week, we will be talking Captain America Brave New World spoilers. And everybody, cheers.